And now on the line is Peter Heaney, the CEO of Team Hope Ireland. Peter, welcome to the programme.
Thanks. Lovely to be here.
Okay, Peter, I saw a post on Facebook recently about your annual Christmas shoebox appeal, and that is what got me thinking to doing interviews with you again, bearing in mind that Christmas is only a few months away. Before we talk about that big campaign, can you tell me how you are getting on in the other areas of your work this year, bearing in mind how COVID has impacted on you?
Yeah, of course, Darren. COVID, it's had a very big impact across all the countries that we work in. And I think the thing is it's had a big impact, but that impact has been very varied depending on the country that it's in. So, for example, we work in Belarus is one of the countries, and the president there has decided that it effectively doesn't exist within the country. That doesn't mean that it's not having an impact, and we know from kind of reports there that people are unfortunately still catching COVID. There are still fatalities associated with it, but those are not being recorded on death certificates within the country. Compare that with other countries that we work in. Others have had a very strict lockdown, very similar to Ireland, some of them even more so. The fines in Romania, where we work, for breaking lockdown would be far in excess the average income of a family. Across the board, really, the biggest impact that we have seen has been economic impacts of the lockdown on the communities that we're working with, on the economic impacts of COVID. And that's both in our countries in operation in Eastern Europe as well as in Africa. And what we've been trying to do is try and adapt the longer term development programs that we do alongside our Christmas shoebox appeal, try and adapt those to COVID-19. And to try and make sure that we can give additional support in some cases to our partners. We're an entirely partner delivery-led organisation, so all the work that we do overseas is done through local grassroots partners who are based in and know the communities that we're working with very, very well. One example, if I may, if it's all right to talk about that, is we've been working in Swaziland, or Eswatini as it is now known. The name of the country changed a couple of years ago. Swaziland has the highest prevalence of HIV and AIDS in the world as a country. It's over 1 in 4 adults are HIV positive within the country. And we run a project there with our partners that aims to do a couple of things. It aims to increase kind of awareness of the stigma associated with the illness, as well as sort of raising awareness about prevention of it as well. But for those living with the disease already, we set up support groups, and the idea with these support groups is that it's groups of people who are living with the disease together. They can learn from each other. They can provide emotional and psychological support to each other, as well as very real support. And our partners are working with them to help them access medicines that will hold the virus at bay, as well as kind of helping them economically. And one of the big things with HIV and AIDS and the medication taken to prevent it, it's kind of advanced once you have it, is that it really requires a very good diet to make that effective. And if you're in a position where you're not getting access to regular meals or good nutrition, it makes that medicine a lot harder to take. It's quite a harsh medicine, but also it makes it much harder for that to be effective as well. And with the economic effects of COVID-19, that's really hit those communities that we've been working with, and their ability to continue to find that nutrition. So we've been adapting that project. Within COVID-19, our partners have been able to go around and set up sort of small kitchen gardens where people can grow fresh fruit and veg. So that's something that they're doing. They can do it. It's COVID safe. It's at a household level. They can do it outdoors and socially distanced, but it's still enabling those communities to be empowered and to be able to start growing their own food. And alongside that, we as Team Hope have been able to provide additional assistance through kind of emergency food packages to families in those areas to help them kind of get over that that kind of economic shock and help tide them over as well. So that's one example, I suppose, of how we've been trying to kind of adapt in those longer term development programs to COVID, try and continue to work with and help those communities where we've been working in many cases for a number of years, and continue to help them in what is a very difficult time.
Okay, I interviewed your last CEO in Team Hope Ireland, Niall Barry, just over 3 years ago. I called over to your offices in Leopardstown to interview him. Peter, how long have you been involved with Team Hope and in the position as CEO?
I took over from Niall, who retired. I think it's nearly 3 years ago. So it must have been one of the last interviews that he did, Darren. He would have retired not that long after that. I think I'm maybe 2.5 years in position now. But I've been involved with the organisation much longer than that. I've been a volunteer with Team Hope for many years. And actually, it was a shoebox. It was a camp that we did with children in Ukraine many years ago. That actually got me involved and started in development work as well. So I'm very closely connected with the organisation over the years. It's been great the last couple of years being able to give so much time to Team Hope and to working for them.
Okay, and you're a Christian NGO, aren't you?
We are, yeah. We're a Christian. Irish Christian International Development Organisation is how we describe ourselves, and that's very much core to our ethos and why we want to help people. But we're very aware that we run a huge volunteer operation across Ireland, and everybody of every faith and none is able to participate, and the same on the receiving end as well. We want to help people whoever they are, wherever they are, and be that good Samaritan, I suppose, to people regardless of their own faith or politics or gender or race or anything like that.
Okay. Okay, to talk more about your Christmas shoebox appeal, I know, as you mentioned, that COVID is having a big impact on this campaign as well. Can you tell me how this campaign of yours this year compares to previous years, Peter?
Yeah, of course. The campaign this year is going to look very different, Darren. Some of your listeners maybe who are used to the campaign would know that it's normally a huge team effort with a lot of volunteers and checking centres helping to sort boxes and pack them onto trucks. And because of COVID-19, we can't do that this year. And we've had to take a decision not to run the appeal as normal, because we need to ensure the safety of our volunteers and people who are involved in it. But we are still going ahead. And we've moved online, and we still need people to team up and to help us out. And what we're asking people to do is to come together across the country. And we're asking for donations of €20, which will allow us to send a shoebox to a child affected by poverty in Eastern Europe or in Africa. The difference will be is that those gifts that fill those shoeboxes, instead of being bought in Ireland this year, we'll be transferring that money over to our local partners that I was talking about a few minutes ago, and they'll be going out and sourcing items and creating those shoeboxes and distributing them and giving them to the children in communities and affected by poverty in those countries. So we're really asking people to get involved, either to make a donation. We've just launched a brand new website, which includes a build a box feature, so you're able to select some of the items that you'd like to see us put into those shoeboxes, and also to personalise it as well. A lot of a lot of people really love and engage with the appeal because it is such a personal thing, and you're sending something from you to a child overseas. And so to help try and retain that, there's an element of the website where you can download. There's some colouring in resources for kids, as well as kind of worksheets and stuff. You can download those, and once you've made your donation, you can upload them and personalise your box, say a little bit about it, and we'll include those sheets in the boxes when they're delivered on the other end as well. There's still that personal, relational element to the appeal.
That's a great idea. Okay, Peter, so what do our listeners have to do? You said it's €20 for a box. If you want to be involved in this year's campaign, go onto your website, is it?
Yeah. Go onto the website and you'll be able to see all the resources that we have up there, either to make a donation yourself, to build a box online, and we'll make sure that gets delivered to a child overseas, or if people would like to volunteer to give some of their time to help run a fundraiser. We really want to try and get as many boxes as possible. And as I was saying earlier, the impact of COVID-19 on the countries that we're working in has been severe. They don't have the same support systems or government support as we would here in Ireland. And it does mean that a box this year is even more necessary than ever. So we're trying to get as many people as possible involved in any way to generate as many shoeboxes as possible this year. And all the information is available on the website. So www.teamhope.ie. And you should be able to find everything you need to get involved there. Contact details for the office if you have any questions as well.